It's a happy and blessed Wednesday morning. Good morning. Welcome to your perfect morning start on Channels Television. It's the Morning Brief, and we're live for you right here in Lagos, Channels Television's global headquarters. I am Bukola Koka, and of course, I'm here with Jeffrey. Hello, Jeffrey.
Morning, Bukola, and welcome to the program. I'm Jeffrey Uzong. As always, we binge through the big happenings, and there's a lot going on. You'll be spoiled for choice as to what interests you the most. Maybe how it affects you directly, or how it affects all of us as people in Nigeria, and perhaps our brothers and sisters outside the country. Whatever it is, we're here to make sure we break it down to the best of our ability with our team and give you the best of your mornings. Bukola, what is going on? What are you tracking?
Quite a lot is happening, Jeffrey. The president left the country as president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces, but he's now a knight of the Order of St. Lucia. I hope I got that title correctly. But you know, the president himself is magnanimous in, conferring our national honors to our bilateral partners or either our sectoral partners. Recall the order conferred upon businessman Bill Gates, and of course the Prime Minister of India also, got his own portion of a national honor when he visited the country not too long ago. So the president also has been blessed in similar manner with this particular order conferred on him in St. Lucia following his visit to St. Lucia. And of course, the president himself has also been magnanimous, giving out scholarships to students of St. Lucia to come in here and study in Nigerian universities. That draws quite a lot of reactions, which we, of course, trailed for you yesterday. And of course, Nigeria's ties, historical ties with St. Lucia has been highlighted during this particular trip. But are there other ties, with St. Lucia, knowing that it's emerging, following this trip, that also the president's longtime friend and ally, that would be His Excellency Sir Gilbert Chagri, has served as UNESCO permanent representative to St. Lucia, and of course has in fact helped to draw interest to St. Lucia over the years. We wonder whether, that compels this trip of Mr. President to St. Lucia. But of course, when we have an opportunity with the president, we'll be putting all of these questions through. And more importantly, there are other issues back home. The House of Representatives is drawing attention to security concerns in Niger State, where, according to reports in certain communities, bandits are said to be walking free. And so while generosity is being extended outside the country, some of those funding are required to tackle real issues back home in Nigeria. Not forgetting, politics is also, very dominant on the scene. But Jeffrey, before I get ahead of myself, what are you tracking?
No, you can go right ahead. There's a lot to track at the end of the day. But, well, I think we've said enough about St. Lucia. We've talked about the flurry of pressers released by the presidency concerning his visit to St. Lucia, justifying the reason he had to travel. And, well, the only flack, on the other hand, is to the fact that Nigerian students need to get loan to go to school, and these scholarships are offered. But there are so many underlying issues that we will get to find out when the president comes. I think he's headed, or he's already in Brazil for the BRICS meeting, and so that's going to be another conversation in its entirety, because I'm more concerned about what concerns you the most sometimes, which is the price of PMS.
Petrol, right?
Yeah, so we understand that the sector has been deregulated. Of course, PMS subsidy is gone. The president made that very clear, and he got a lot of backlash for that, but he stuck to his guns. So what we expect is to the effect that when the prices of crude oil, which is the most expensive component or the bigger share of the cost components of PMS price, if you look at how the pricing template is done, if it goes up, the price of crude oil goes up, we expect the price of PMS to actually go up. So we saw what happened. It went almost to $80 per barrel when the issue around Iran and Israel happened because of the Strait of Hormuz that carries a lot of this crude. 20% of the entire crude around in the world comes from that area. So we could see how it went down. Then the pump prices were adjusted upwards. Well, the price of crude oil has actually gone down and stayed steady, less than $70 so far. Have we seen any adjustment to the PMS at the pump price? So what is this deregulation really all about? Is it that when it goes up, it's easy to adjust your pump price, but when it comes down, the adjuster gets bad? I don't know what
Jeffrey,
to say.
My ship has since sailed on that particular one.
No, we need to
stop, bothering my head about it.
No, you're a journalist. You should bother yourself.
But it's important to also scrutinize what's happening in that space. Weeks ago, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Dangote Refinery announced its decision to begin direct distribution of petroleum products.
Free of charge, by the way.
That drew the ire of marketers in the sector. And we know that prior to this time, there has been intense competition, a price war between our state-owned oil company and Dangote Refinery. So we wonder if this is also, this refusal to adjust petrol price downward is a product of the price competition that is ongoing between and amongst marketers. Some who are, doing business with the Nigerian state-owned oil company, NNPCL, and others who are doing business with Dangote Petrol Refinery. But we must continue to ask, what then is the benefit, of mass production, domestic production of petroleum products at home when, if price goes down, we do not enjoy the benefits of price of crude oil, which is the international product that determines the price of petrol, if it doesn't come down at home. So what then is the benefit?
That's why I'm raising the question, because the last time I bought the PMS over 900. By now, we expect it to go in the middle of 800, say 845, 8, because we've seen when price of crude oil was about 67, 66, I think 64, it went down. So I'm talking about the speed of adjusting the prices. And that's on one hand. Perhaps the issue around that, say, buying about 4,000 CNG-empowered trucks to be able to offload, evacuate PMS from its petroleum product, let's put it that way. I don't know whether the distributors were not taking from him as much as he would, so he decided to take his own destiny into his own hands, right, and just keep all of these things in tanks. He decided to do it himself, and even took it to another level by saying, I'm going to send it to everywhere in the country because I want it to, the price to be close to maybe a uniform price, if it's possible, whether you're buying in Sokoto or you're buying in Lagos. Well, the players in that sector said this is one step into monopoly. But the game is the game. You do your best to compete as much as possible. But the other bigger question we should ask, let NNPCL, now I appreciate, first I want to appreciate Mr. Bayo, the new guy in charge, the new man in charge. He's tried his best to be as transparent as possible, giving us monthly updates. I haven't checked the last month. But every month, it gives us a report as to what was produced, how much was sold. It's just a basic dashboard for you to be able to say, this is how NNPC fared this month. That's a good thing. But let's talk about the Port Harcourt and the Warri Refinery. I think it's about 2 or 3 months now, or going to more than 2 months. It hasn't been working.
Since the announcement that it will be shut down for repairs.
And those are the things people who understood this space were screaming that there's something really wrong, that this may have been a photo op and all of that. Now it looks like, well, it looks like they were right after all. So we want the management of the NNPCL and the people in charge of the refineries. What is going on with our refineries? $1.5 billion is not a joke for turnaround maintenance. We need to find out what's going on with those refineries ASAP.
And Jeffrey, just before we leave the petrol matter, I wonder, does the deregulation of the sector absolve, the superintending officers at the Ministry of Petroleum from explaining to Nigerians what exactly is happening with the, price of petrol when it goes up? When price of crude oil goes up, price of petrol goes up at home. But when price of crude oil goes down, we do not see the,
that question
reduction at home.
Is best answered by, I think, Mr. Farouk Megu is in charge of the NNDPRA. They are in charge of the downstream sector. Upstream is Kamalafe. So those are the people we should be asking questions. They should be the ones we should be asking questions. In fact, they should be the ones we should be asking, because they were there. They took them, showed us videos, showed us samples of Port Harcourt Refinery and Warri refineries. Now everybody's mum. Anyway, okay, but Nigerians, that's our job, to keep them in check. So what is happening to the 2 refineries that we celebrated that has come on stream? 2 months down the line. What spoiled? What got bad? We need exactitude.
We need some explanations.
Yes, and I don't want to say I'm happy, but the communication, whoever is in charge of communication of the NNPCL needs to do better now than the previous one. They need to do better because communication was a big problem in the last management. Anyway, so that's the Port Harcourt refinery when it came on stream. But Bukola, what do we have for the people today?
Well, we're not exploring oil this morning.
Yeah, this affects all Nigerians, so we have to talk about
politics. So the plot to unseat President Tinubu in 2027 is gathering momentum, is thickening, as you would say, as political heavyweights like Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, former vice president and candidate of the PDP, presidential candidate in 2023 election, Uche Secondus, that's former national chairman of the PDP, former Senate President David Mark, and others held a closed-door meeting in Abuja. So we'll be speaking this morning with the media advisor to Mr. Atiku as we try to find out what this proposed opposition has in store ahead.
All right, that's all we'll be talking about. Local government elections. July the 12th is the date right here in Lagos. LASIEC is the Independent Electoral Commission that's in charge of Lagos local government elections. But certain parties that's outside the APC are raising concern about what the activity of LASIEC is. They are complaining as to the effect that they are not happy with the processes of what is going on with electoral management in Lagos State in terms of eligibility of candidate, the conduct of the electoral umpire itself, whether this election that will be coming up, we're going to look at it from the law, whether it even follows, it complies substantially with the Electoral Act and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So if you're interested in the local government elections in Lagos State, 20 local government areas, 37 LCDAs.
Yeah.
Oh, they are not recognized by law of Nigeria, by the way. So there's a lot that is going on. It's an important conversation because let what befell Rivers State not befall the elections that are coming up in Lagos. The guys who understand how it plays out and who are participants will be right here to have that conversation. I will be throwing the questions at them.
Absolutely. It sounds like a familiar tune, right? But we'll sing it all the same. That's not all. We'll be heading over as well this morning to Oyo State, where students of Polytechnic Ibadan protested outside the building against the proposed name change of the institution by the governor to in honor of former governor of the state, Omololu Olunloyo. The president of the school student union body and leader of the protest joins us this morning to shed more light on the grievances of the students. Sounds like deja vu, right? When we walk down a bit memory lane to recall at that time when the administration, I believe, of former President Goodluck Jonathan proposed a name change for good old University of Lagos here in the nation's commercial capital. And my, what a protest that was. Well, it sounds as if history is repeating itself in another shape and form this time, also in southwest Nigeria.
Right.
But there's yet another resistance. So we'll find out what the issues are. Is there a sense of history here, or is history not important? Let's have that conversation together on the program.
Absolutely. And just before we bring in our analysts on the program, let's tell you the question of the day. Our question of the day is, does the coalition have a chance to defeat Tinubu, President Tinubu, in 2027? Yes or no? Does the coalition have a chance to defeat Tinubu as a president in 2027? Is it a yes? Is it a no? Because they are coalescing, if you allow me to use that word right now. Okay, we'll come back in just a moment. Remember, don't forget. All our feedback channels is how you get across to us. We'll be back for the headlines, paper headlines, just in a moment. Stay with us.